everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Windy City Podcast. We have a super special guest today, coming from the VHL and now on the NSHL. Near and dear to all of our hearts, it's Blade Maiden, or Irena Cheklova.
Oh my god, I count as a very special guest?
Yeah.
What kind of lowballing are we doing here now that I count as very special?
You're more special than Trella, I'd say.
I wonder how Trella would feel about that.
No, wait, Trella.
Don't say that!
You're actually my baby boy, so never mind.
So I hear you have some questions for me today.
Yeah, and I didn't write any down, so looks like
I love it when you come prepared.
Yeah.
Super prepared.
Improv. It's my greatest quality. We can just talk about... I do want to know... We'll just get right into it. Did you pay attention during the draft and see kind of who was going where, and then seeing how far you were falling and all that kind of stuff?
So what happened, I'm not sure if anybody other than really GMs would know, is I actually joined on draft day. So 2 hours before the draft, I made Irena. And I didn't know how seriously any GM would take somebody who, just joined the site. So I was literally expecting to go, the very last pick. Because, like I said, what do you expect when you are the person that joins 2 hours before the draft?
Yeah, so, I mean, there were still some inactives, though, that, so you weren't the bottom of the barrel,
Yeah, I did watch the draft, though. And basically, when I saw my name go up, I was super shocked, and anybody who was also watching probably saw my comment and being like, what the heck just happened here? And I got accused of knowing the GM of the team I got drafted to. They're like, definitely an inside pick. And I'm like, no, I'm like, I have no idea who these guys are. They have no idea who I am.
Yeah, so, I mean, we didn't get around to scouting you. Probably because you joined late.
I do know that there were people from, my first league that knew I was joining, so if somebody had said that to me and I'd been drafted by them, they probably know me around from the VHL, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, no, not at all.
I mean, that's kind of how it goes. I drafted a ton of SHL people that I know. Trella knows some PBE people that I didn't know so well, but he knew they were decent, so they were on our radar. And I saw on your page when we were looking at picking you that you were recruited by one of the GMs, so I kind of felt like it was, the plan that you would join draft day, kind of go unnoticed, but still be kind of a good earner, and go to their team because no one else knows who you are. But we kind of, we did a little last minute scouting and saw that you were a good pick, which is why we went with you.
That's not the way it was at all. I just want to defend McWolf on that.
No, yeah.
Because he actually invited me right when the league was just starting up. And the truth is that I was super busy with the stuff that I was doing on the VHL, and I honestly forgot to join. He sent me a link forever ago. I saw it, and then he reminded me, he's like, are you even joining? You need to do these tasks because they close right after the draft. So I was like, oh shit, better get started.
Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of the same. I had people that I were hoping were gonna fly under the radar that ended up getting scooped up too. So it's kind of how the draft went. It's kind of dog eat dog world in that first draft. It was a crapshoot. So
I was also told because I basically was asking around what I should even be making, and I was told that the defense front was kind of shaky. whether or not that was true. So I, knowing that I was planning on making a player that would be hopefully more desirable, that there was always a chance I wouldn't go to somebody that I knew, right?
Yeah. I'd say that's a good assessment. I mean, we took all the active D that we knew, and that's why we were looking at like outside kind of people. And I'd say out of all the D, probably people do offensive D the most, just because it's probably the most rewarding to get points rather than like having to look for shot blocks or whatever more boring stats that maybe aren't flashy and get you awards. But
I think I kind of went for a compromise
yeah.
because I didn't do quarterback. I did basically a puck feeder.
Mm-hmm.
So I do plan on being, like decent defensively, and then also just also having the option of racking up some points by helping out the people who are looking to score. So
Well, it's also not terrible to even have a primary strength of passing, because passing is more than just offense, right? You got to pass out of your zone. You got to make sure you don't turn it over, so you got to have good passing there. So it still can be a good defensive build as well, I would say.
I was hoping to more go along the lines of something that was perhaps a little bit more utilitarian for like down the road, because I always worry, especially like when I first like join a league, about making something that's going to be relevant down the line.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not quite sure if like quarterback kind of defense, which was the other one that I was considering,
Yeah.
if that's going to be if that's going to be as useful. But that's just me trying to think things through and kind of ensure that I'm going to be a player that's going to contribute and get, like line time down the road.
Well, hopefully this sim engine, I mean, we're hoping that it's like top of the line and realistic, where all these classes that we made are actually like, people, players that are in hockey leagues. You got passing defensemen, you got defensive defensemen, all these kind of different skill sets on them. So having both the variety to like be able to make the player you want, as well as be relevant and just have a good crop of different people with their own unique builds, I think was the goal of this league. So it should be hopefully easy to go your own route and like make your own player the way you want it, and still be able to be a relevant and good player in the league, I think.
And I think that that's what was exciting and probably the most enticing thing. I think
Mm-hmm.
if this had just been what I was doing on the VHL, I'm not quite sure if I would have jumped jumped like I did and made sure that I was in before the draft and
Yeah.
that I had done all those task points before the draft. So
Well, it's the same for a lot of people. I mean, if this was just another Simon T League, what's the point, right? I mean, it's kind of in protest to Simon League. Like, a lot of people think it's just not very fun to sim in it. And I get why people sim in it. It works. It's proven to work. And it's not like the most amazing sim, but there's infrastructure online to get a league like that set up. Whereas EHM, Cal's been working his ass off getting the file up for over a week now, and it's had to be delayed, but there's literally nothing online about a sim league in EHM. Like, you can't just Google, like, oh, how do I make this work? Like, you gotta figure out yourself. That's the toughest part, I think.
I think that that's where all my respect comes from him, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and my patience, and like, I think obviously everybody's patience is because, um, it's not that he's doing the easiest thing out there in the world. We know that it's something that's untested, and we're just excited for when we do get an opportunity
Yeah.
to see how our players are doing, however long that takes.
I do understand the pressure on his part, where like people are kind of like, all right, well, we joined the league and it's been a week since the draft and now another week since the delay. So like, when are we gonna see our players in action? And he obviously wants to get it done as soon as possible so that people aren't really like tagging him all the time and being like, let's go. So
Maybe I'm just too patient. Maybe I'm just like, however long it takes to see Irena kick ass, I'm good with it.
tag him right now and be like, when's the file, bud?
But then again, I've been having fun doing other stuff. The reason why I join a league is like the Discord and
Mm-hmm.
my epic Twitter battles with people. Like, I'm not the person that's going to be getting upset because my player hasn't played a game yet.
Yeah. It's kind of the same for me. I've been having fun in the locker room, just chilling and like making the
I think
team is fun and kind of nerve-wracking, but I'm kind of not looking forward to having to actually worry about how we sim and like looking at strategies and freaking out about that kind of stuff. It's kind of been smooth sailing for a little bit since the draft.
I think there's a couple different types of players out there, and there's the ones that are in it for like more of like the locker room kind of stuff, and I'm definitely one of those.
Yeah.
And you can tell like you're probably one of those too, which is probably why we get along.
Yeah, I mean, in the SHL, like, my guy is notoriously not great in the sim, but I'm just in it to hang around and have fun. I mean, I'll be loyal to a team if they want me, and even if I'm bad and they just want to, like, make me a backup goalie, like, I don't really care.
I think for me, it's that Brick Sim's the worst, like
Hmm.
the absolute worst, until I joined Calgary.
Yeah.
And that was because legitimately the GM, I'm just waiting, the GM that had the one of the best goalies in the league picked me up, and I had basically been asking him to like draft me and make room for me, and he did. And so he helped me with my build a lot, and Brick became better overnight almost.
Yeah.
But that's not due to me at all.
I mean, I have an interesting goalie because I went for a 5'9" goalie with size weakness. So, I mean, the update scale is easier on goalies, but pumping just TPE after TPE to get to a decent size is a challenge, but I kind of think it's a fun build. I mean, I could go cookie cutter, skating weakness, get all the appropriate stats up that make Simon T happy, and then maybe not get toasted, but what's the fun in that? I kind of like a career with little adversity. I mean, losing the finals once, get shredded, but then come back and win it after that. I think that's a better story than just winning it straight up, you know?
See, I don't have that story. My goalie joined Team Canada, won a cup the first year, got gold medal the first year. Um, didn't really get any personal accolades
Mm-hmm.
because actually no, playoff MVP I think he got.
Oh, shit.
So but he shared it with like two other people on my team. So I was just really excited for I think my personal goal for Brick was to stand on his own going up into the next league. And probably why joining here, why I picked a completely something different, because I want a player who can kind of stand on their own, who I didn't have other people meddle in to make better. So
Yeah. I don't know how much we want to talk about other leaks. I
yeah,
mean,
maybe we should go back to here. Ask me a question about Irena.
I'll just add that like it is more fun. Like my whole player has been kind of just a prove everyone wrong kind of player where like I'm drafted really late, but I end up earning a lot of TPE and like I'm pretty bad in the finals one year, but I come back and get it. Like that's kind of a fun player to be. So I'd say even maybe coming back to Irena, like you joined late, you didn't have all those activity checks that other people had, so you little behind in TPE, but being drafted late and proving people wrong can be a fun way to go.
It is, and I actually feel like I got super lucky. I had no idea about the team that I had been drafted on, and honestly, I could have ended up in a really quiet locker room. I
Mm-hmm.
could have ended up with somebody who, didn't want an outspoken player in the locker room and had a problem with the fact that, I was actually a chick. So I lucked out in that regard.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny. I mean, if it's kind of weird. I drafted you, and what I had been doing was just sending locker room invites to everyone. But for the most part, I knew everyone I drafted. Like, we had talking before, I scouted them, whatever, or they're in the SHL with me and we're buds. Like, I was just sending straight up just invite. And then I sent one to you, and I realized a little bit after, I'm like, I didn't even fucking introduce myself. I just sent you the invite to the locker room. I'm like, oops, that's kind of
And
awkward.
I just accepted
I mean,
right away. No questions asked. Hey, bud.
ask questions later. You're on the team now, so just join this locker room, and then we'll figure it out from there if we're a fit.
And I think that says a lot about. You can tell a lot about people's personalities when when they first join your locker room.
Mm-hmm.
You either get the people who are like creepy checking out, or you get the people like me that are like, "Hey, everybody, guess you're stuck with me now."
I will be honest. I feel like when you first joined, you weren't as talkative, and you kind of opened up a little and grown on everyone.
Yeah, I do think that I probably did try to feel you guys out a bit.
Yeah. And then you find out that we're the most bumping locker room in the league.
Literally the luckiest person. Like, I feel like I'm the luckiest person that could have been drafted, because out of nowhere I just got into this like awesome locker room.
Oh, thanks. We got the
That's how I
best.
really feel, though.
We got the best emotes. I'll say that. Y'all might think you're better on the ice. Whatever, you win the cup, okay. But we got a bumping locker room with some awesome emojis, and I think that's all you can ask for out of a sim league, really.
I feel like we should get an award for our emojis.
I mean,
My favorite is obviously the fist bump.
yeah, that's a good one. I didn't even think about that. I mean, it's supposed to be an angry fist that's like clenched and like you're gonna punch someone, and you just come out of nowhere. You're like, let me fist bump that, and I'm like, you know what? I agree. Let's fist bump.
So
my personal favorite, I will say, is the mass trash one. I did work pretty hard making that look nice. I like how it turned out, and I think other people like it too.
that's not the one you use the most, though.
I know, because it's not relevant yet, but I think when we get the season started and we're playing them, you pop a mass trash in the chat, everyone pops one, you get the team a little pumped up. It'll be good.
Well, I was gonna say, everybody seems to have the one that they use the most, too.
Yeah, I think that's good. A little more personality to each person and emoji. I feel like you get the one you like. But yeah, let's talk about Irena. So,
Oh, jeez.
I do want to frame this a little bit as like, I think I'm gonna knock out some other ones today, so we can make it a little personal. Where do you want to go in your career? What kind of player you want, and what kind of milestones you have for them? If you want to get points, or if you just want to win a cup with someone, or if you want to get some kind of award, whether it be, a team award, President's Trophy, or your own like top defenseman. You want to lead the league and shit. What's the goals?
I think my goal will always be because it's not really a possibility to it's not really a possibility in anything else that I've done. I'd rather get like a team-based award where like the team votes me in for something.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's like the ultimate compliment from people that you're spending time with and you're putting effort in with. So that's probably my goal. But that's probably me lowballing it because I've joined late.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I think Charles and I, in St. Louis in the SHO, we spent some time there, and they have team awards that they give out, kind of totally independent of the league. They just do their own awards. You got most active in the LR, top defenseman on the team, just like team-based awards. And I think Charles and I will get that set up because it's always nice to be recognized by your teammates and GMs for just, keeping at it and grinding.
You want to know something that I know that I probably could get? Most improved. Because I started behind everyone.
Oh, shit. I'm having audio problems here. One sec. Shit. But yeah, anyway, I think Team Awards is a good idea, and we will look at what to do. I think we can make them very personalized, though,
And I think that that's like something that all the teams should really think about doing. But, we're not really concerned about them. We're concerned about us.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to make it more boring for their players by not talking about their best team members, that's not my problem. We'll just be a better free agent market.
Yeah, and actually, I finally thought about something that we should perhaps talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Considering that I've kind of become a Twitter warrior. What was your thoughts on the fact that, Irena was, she was coming on pretty strong to some players from the LA Phoenix? As her GM, what was your first thought on that?
I mean, as long as it motivates you to go even harder on them, I'm fine with it. If you're chirping them or flirting or whatever, but it's gonna make you go harder in the game, then that's fine, as long as it's not slowing you down.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think first and foremost, my loyalty is to the Cyclones. I've said that I'm not going anywhere. As long as you guys want me on the team, I'm on the team, and I'm loyal about it.
Well, we're looking to keep you and pretty much everyone that we have. If you're active and want to stay here, like, we'll find ice time for you. We'll let you stay around. We'll put some fun clauses in our contracts.
Fun clauses?
Oh,
what do you mean by that?
If you want to role play something in your character in a clause, or even like if you say in your contract, I want a specific Discord channel or role or emote or something, I'd be down to do that. Or like,
or when your
Wednesdays
players
is game night or something like that.
Or when your player signs their contract in lipstick and screws everything up for you.
Yeah, I don't know how that could work into a clause, but we could look at it. Just doing fun stuff that makes people have fun with their player and have personality and want to stick around with the team is stuff we're looking at.
I just thought for sure of what Irena's is.
Alright, well, you still have a little while before you get extended, so...
I know, but...
You're gonna have to keep it...
I should have demanded it just before. And you already know what it is.
Yeah, I know it is. But I don't know about... I don't know if that's a good look, honestly, to demand before a rookie contract.
I mean, that's probably a good point, but...
With Logan, I mean, I already knew coming in that he was going to want to write lyrics and stuff, but that's okay, because I'm sure that he would write it in general chat anyway, so having it be in his own channel is nice.
I was going to say, Logan's pretty low-key about it, too.
Yeah.
It's not like he was super demanding at any point. It's just, it's something that's going to make him happy. And honestly, and seeing what he writes is probably half the fun.
Yeah, it is fun to check it out. And if it's not your thing, then you can mute it and move on. But
exactly.
Anything that makes it a more comfortable place for him to be, I'm cool with. I mean, he's a good dude, and some people think he's annoying, but that just meant that he fell farther in the draft, and I get to steal him because he's going to be a good earner. So
I think that that's the story with like a lot of people, though, is you're either the type of person that can accept people as they are and, you know, have the kind of environment where you can make everybody work together, or you can't. And that says something about the Cyclone locker room. I don't think that anything has become an issue because you were able to, just because you were able to give him his own space. And I think Logan's delightful, so.
yeah, I mean that was the thing I wanted building a locker room. I mean, we're looking at drafting, and everyone's earning at a pretty similar rate. So, you know, we could build a team with just picking positions and just trying to get the best people for that. But I think Trell and I, we said this on the podcast before too, that we really wanted to emphasize the locker room part of our team and make it a place that people want to be, whether it's staying here after they were drafted or coming in free agency even. Just making it a fun place to be with people that mesh well together, you know, kind of. We had our eye on some people that we just didn't think would fit with our locker room that we're kind of trying to build, whether it's things they say or if they're, you know, just not chill people. We kind of took note of that, and I'm not going to name names, so draw your own conclusions if you want, but basically, I think we did a good job of building that kind of chill locker room, and I think people are happy with how it turned out, and then they can just go in there and talk about their day and people care, or not go in for a little while, and, you know, if they can feel missed too. I mean, I'll tag someone if they haven't been in a while and be like, "What's up? What you doing?" It's not just an updating thing too. Like, you can update if you want. I don't care too much. It'd be nice for the team, but if you don't want to update, that's cool. But I'll just check in on you anyway and see how you are.
I think what it's become is it's a place that we can all just like hang out and talk, and that's what's become nice about it, is that it's not a pressurized environment, but it's so supportive that it makes us all want to be active.
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
this was not supposed to be a max out thing for me. This was supposed to be do decently well, and that's it. But it's the locker room environment that made me be more active than I would have been. And that's me being honest.
Yeah, it's good to hear. I mean, I do want it to be kind of like you want to be there, and maybe if you have a bad game, you know, someone will razz you a little bit, be like, "Oof, look at that plus minus. You got like a minus 10 there. It's not great." And you're like, "Oh shit, let me go hard this week, earn some TP, put in defense." You know, like that kind of stuff can be fun too. But really, it's almost like just a fun server with friends, and then also we play sim hockey. You know.
It's just like, it's both sides of it. It's a fun server, and it's supportive, and it drives you, which is pretty well anything you could ask for as a GM for your locker room to be.
Yeah. So I think some combinations of, you know, good drafting and luck has turned out to make Windy City pretty good, and I'm very confident going in, looking at our lineup. I mean, people underrate our defense. We got you on the fucking third pairing to start, which honestly, you're probably a top 4D already. And we'll look to give you more ice time. Like, fucking, we can bench Trella. I don't even care.
But you know, I'm not sour about it either. That's what makes the difference, too, is you could have somebody on the team who's super sour about not getting ice time, or however it may be, but when you first after you drafted me, you asked me what I was looking at for ice time, and I said, I straight up expect not to be on a top pairing.
Yeah, I mean,
first or second.
That was the risk drafting you, because I kind of knew when we built the team and what kind of players they had and what kind of personalities they had. We were thinking about, you know, this guy is kind of, he's not a sniper, he's not a playmaker or speedy forward, not really a true offensive guy. He's got some defensive upside, and I think he won't mind if we put him on the third line to shore up the defensive side. I made a super defensive player. I'll play in the bottom six. I kind of knew that. I don't want to be a sniper and be out of place on the third line because I don't want to take top 6 minutes. So I made that kind of really defensive guy who can play at the bottom of the lineup and just be a solid guy who's not letting in goals. Like, I'm fine with that, and I was looking at other people with the similar mindset, and I think we built really well where the people on the bottom six aren't going to complain too much about being on the bottom six, and if they sim well and we want to move them up, that's just a bonus, but they're okay. And, I mean, to be honest, Stroll and I are looking at rolling 4 lines pretty evenly. I don't think there's going to be a huge gap in ice time to start it out just because everyone's kind of on the same playing field TPE-wise, and we're just hoping to get everyone some good ice time and hopefully some points and wins,
And that's something that I think too, is it's really unrealistic to just be starting out in a league and start expecting top ice time out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, if Irena proves herself and she's a good D-man and she's putting up great numbers, then, I mean, why wouldn't you play her more? But on the other hand, I don't want somebody else to not get playing time either, because we're all here for we all want to have fun.
Yeah, and I mean, it is tricky because on one hand you want to play the best defenseman on the top pair, but on the other hand, if you got, really good defensemen already, and then this person just snipes all day, and you have them on the second pairing for like kind of an uneven matchup, that could be good too. Like, I've seen in some situations, like, if you have some dude who's fucking great on the second line, the first line might be really good and they're kind of even, but if your second line's way better than the other team's second line, they can really take advantage. So that's kind of the tricky part too, is you want to give ice time, but also you want to kind of maximize your good players and make them play better than they usually would,
And I think that that's something that I'm happy about too. Maybe other people would be more upset about not like being placed on the third line, but I'm not exactly confident with where my build's gone so far, so I feel like I'm a lot happier just knowing that that I'm gonna get kind of more of like a trial time to kind of play around with things, make her better, and see if we can be way better than somebody else's third line.
Yeah. I mean, you're an offensive player on the third pairing, whereas, to be honest, I haven't looked at other teams that much, but I'm kind of thinking they're going to have weak to inactive players, kind of that kind of range on their third line. So having someone earn TPE, be offensive, and maybe like join the rush and be a fourth kind of forward on that bottom pairing isn't such a bad idea, and they can really show flaws in the other team's defense. And also we're giving you power play time to try out some passing there, so it shouldn't be too boring, I don't think.
And I'm just excited because I didn't see a lot of players with my build go. I saw lots of quarterbacks, I'm not gonna lie, lots and lots of quarterbacks, and lots of really defensive people too, and nobody kind of in that middle area that I seem to be sitting in.
Like a two-way kind of.
Yeah, I think I saw a couple two-ways. I did think I saw a couple of two-ways, but that their focus wasn't so much on the passing more than scoring.
Yeah.
So I know that I've got kind of an odd build going on, but I like it.
I mean, that's pretty much what everyone is here for, is that they can look around, and yeah, there might be other snipers, there might be other danglers, playmakers, offensive D-men, whatever, but not quite the same build. And that's something we really worked on when designing these. It's like, we're doing the maxes, right? And you can put your TP in to start, but then you're all going a different direction. And I think part of it is that we don't exactly know what's good yet, and maybe down the line, we know that you're going to sim amazing if you put everything into skating to start and then everything into this. So that's just kind of what everyone does. They follow the mold. But we kind of wanted to break that with our thing. So that's why we had traits that can increase the max and make your build just slightly different from someone else. You know, you're the sniper with 100 shooting, and then other snipers might have 90 shooting but better skating. That's kind of what we wanted to see in this league, is everyone's got their own quirks. So I think it's
that you're
been
going to
fun.
see a difference.
Yeah.
I really do think you're going to see a difference based on those little quirks that are going on.
It's been fun. I mean, I chose a defensive forward. There's only one of those. Sammy is the other one. And then he wanted more of an offensive defensive forward, which is strange to me, but if it works, it works. You know, I wanted to have fun with it. I picked 5 of the same trait, all important games. I'm just hoping I can, like, snipe goals in the playoffs and, like, come out of nowhere with all these points, when in the regular season I'm getting, like, not many points, but I have a good plus minus because I'm just not letting in the goals, and my teammates are kind of getting those points for me. So I don't know if it's going to work, but it's kind of exciting and fun. And that's why I think people are ready to work in this league.
Sorry, I'm coughing.
No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, I think that's why people don't care about ice time that much either. It's just they're excited to see where this goes at any point. So if they're on the third line or third pairing or fourth line, you know,
it is what it is.
You're kind of like, oh dang, but at the same time you're like, I just want to see if this player is good, and if they are good, then maybe I'll start getting salty. But if they're not good, then maybe I'll just keep my head down and try to change that.
I mean, that's the thing too, though. No matter what kind of build you start with, it kind of gives you a direction you can go in, but it doesn't. You're not pigeonholed. You can still change it.
I mean, with a max of 65 and the fact that you can change your maxes with traits, I mean, a lot of these builds have a max speed of 65, and people are saying that speed is good, so you pick up a couple speed traits, and all of a sudden you can, like, increase that and get better, you know?
I think that's where maybe my build kind of lucked out a little bit. Is that my max, the first thing that kind of got improved was my speed, so maybe that'll work out in my favor. Maybe not.
I mean, I actually, when I made my player, I didn't know it was good, so I was just making a defensive forward because it looked fun. I kind of had an idea where I wanted to go with it, and I just wanted to, you know, try stuff out and experiment. Not a lot of defensive forwards. There weren't many snipers when I created, actually 2, but then more came around. So I just felt like I picked kind of the best player to go forward with being a GM and the career I want. So I'm really happy with that. And I checked the other day at my maxes, and I got 80 speed, 90 bravery, like some really good stuff. A lot of checking is really high, and I kind of like that. So I'm kind of happy with what I chose. It was just like a pleasant surprise to me that my build was it looks poised for a good career, you know?
I think that's something that I also was pleasantly surprised with. I wasn't expecting, like, when I went back and looked through things after people were talking about what was really good, and I was like, I'm like, did I pick the best thing to start off with?
I mean,
so I was pleasantly surprised.
Charles and I were ranking builds for people, like, when we were scouting, we looked at the builds they picked and how they could have a career. I mean, Enforcer, right? Yeah, I get that you can increase speed, you can increase shooting, and be like a sniper to start with, but those maxes are going to really hurt when people start getting the 70, 80 stuff. I mean, we're going to start seeing huge TPE growth, and people are going to get those stats up that really make the difference, and that's where Enforcers are handcuffed. They got hitting and fighting as their maxes. I mean, that's almost useless unless you want to be like a true hitter. Maybe that could work out where you're less of an enforcer and more of a grinder. But I mean, then you should have just picked the grinder build. So I don't know. I get the argument that people could be good now, but I've been saying like those maxes when Cal and I were making the builds, like we were looking and like we we did a good job, I think, with the maxes and like making them very different, but like important skills that aren't useless. So each build is viable.
And I feel like that's true because I feel like if anybody looking at where they are
Hmm.
probably feels like their build isn't at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
And that says something about how you guys set it up, to be quite honest.
Yeah, happy with how that went, and we learned later what the good stats are, and I think we kind of balanced those between all the builds. Obviously, some have those stats as a good strength, and then they're weak in other stats that are just as important. So you got to kind of balance that in your build. So it's going to be tricky but fun, I think, and lots of tough decisions. I mean, each week I'm just putting in 10 TPE to a stat just to raise it by 10. I'm not worrying about going over 60 yet, but each week it's like, oh, I want to do this stat, but I also should do this stat. It's a really tough decision on like what will make me better now, what will make me better in the long run. There's a lot of interesting kind of calls you have to make in your player build, but it makes it fun, especially hopefully when we get Simon and you see did it pay off to make that choice or did you make the wrong one and you got to hurry up and get some TP in this stat so you don't suck.
And it's one of those things, too. I mean, I feel like everybody is somewhat clueless. No matter what people are telling you, can you honestly trust what they're telling you?
Well, I mean, the people that have played EHM for hours and hours, hundreds of hours, that's great. And it's great that you know what stats make a skater good. But think about this, right? You're playing an NHL league. I'm doubting you're doing anything but being an NHL GM and making that kind of team. Those players have 80s and 90s in all their stats, right? There's not a single stat probably that they have. Even probably fighting is probably real like decently high, probably 60, 70. Those are star players, right? The
Yeah.
way we're starting out, you got 30s on all your things. So you think that like, oh, this speedy forward's gonna kill because they got the good speed, but they also have 30 fucking all these other stats. They're all 30. It's gonna be. I have no idea how it's gonna sim. Our goalie's gonna be good, but they have 30 in all these stats too. So like at this point, we all have such low TP that we haven't been able to get all these stats up to even 60, 70, which is what you might see on minor league players. I mean, we're trash. We're probably little kid level in hockey right now. So I,
That
I
makes
think
me so happy, though.
I think these people that know the sim, that's great, but you don't know this kind of sim with these players. Who's going to be good? Who's going to be bad? What's going to happen? I mean, I don't know if we're going to see 1-0 games because no one can shoot or skate or both, or if we're going to see 11-10 games
What's gonna
where,
happen with, like, my thing is, like, what's gonna happen with passing?
yeah,
Like, whoever has 30 passing, I feel so sorry
I
for you.
have
I
30
feel like you're
passing.
gonna struggle.
My whole game plan at this point is I want to check someone, get the puck from them, and then hopefully move it to another player who's better than me to do something with it. You know, that's my game plan at this point. I'm not trying to shoot, pass, make offensive plays. That's for later on when I need to start producing. Right now, it's all about skating, getting back on the back check. I want to forecheck, get skating hard. I have my stamina so that I can be good on the penalty kill. I don't know. I don't know. Think there's a discipline stat from what I saw. Maybe there is, but I don't think we're going to be on the power play too much or on the penalty kill. But if we are, I want to have that stamina so that I can be out there for a very long time and have a lot of minutes defensively and just be solid and not gassed. So that's kind of
That's
what I'm going here. But I mean, I'm truly lacking in a ton of stats. Passing, awful. Shooting, awful. Even defensive stuff, I'm only at 40 in checking and poke checking. So it's a terrible hockey player to start, but everyone is, so it's kind of okay, you know.
my stamina. My stamina
You're
is
at, I'm looking at
horrible.
30 stamina. As a
And then
defenseman, I think you're gonna want to get that up. So that's probably my suggestion:
and
skating and stamina.
weren't you ripping on my my acceleration too?
Oh yeah, you have like you have 60 speed but like 40 acceleration. I think I have both at 60 or maybe excel at 50, but yeah, I think those are both the two most important skating stats. So I mean, yeah, you were saying you're fast, you got a fast player, but I got the acceleration, so I can just get there faster and then outskate you.
I mean, I'm sure you'll get there faster, but I have checking, don't I? I think I have some checking.
I have 40 checking. I'll fight you off, and I did put some into balance, so I can stand on my feet. I don't have strength yet, but I don't know if I need that. I'm not
I
trying
was
to like
gonna,
board play or net battle just yet.
I was gonna say I'm lucky that you're on my team. So lucky you're on my line.
I think Kane is someone you don't want to face. I mean, he's not gonna score on you, but you're not gonna score on him either. That's what I'm hoping for.
I like the fact that I was paired with somebody who is super defensive because I think
Yeah,
that
you join the rush, I'll cover you, and I'll probably play better defense than you would. So we'll just switch it up. You're the
I was
right
like,
wing.
I feel
That'll be
like
funny.
that was probably a good call though to kind of balance out that line, or else we might have been in some trouble.
I mean, our defense has a lot of offensive like defensemen, and they got those offensive stats. And I mean, I'm assuming, yeah, you made like, let's say you made a grinder, right? And you
Yeah,
put all your stats into skating and shooting, none into grinding. I'm pretty sure they're like player types for a reason, right? And if
yeah,
you're a grinder, you're gonna do grindy things. You're gonna try to hit. You're not gonna try to shoot. So even if you make a sniper build on a grinder, I think the game's gonna try to make him play like a grinder, and you'll just be a really shitty grinder. So that's why I'm thinking like we have offensive D-men, right? So they're gonna do offensive things and not play as good defense. But that's okay because our bottom six is like super. We got power forwards, we got defensive forwards, two ways, uh, punishing forwards, back checking. We got the whole lot. So they'll play super good defense while the offensive demon take liberties and join the Russian stuff. So I think I'm hoping that it works out nicely and like we'll see some good balance of defense on from the forwards and offense from the defensemen and see that kind of cohesion, you know.
the truth is that you guys didn't draft all one type of player, so it all comes out in the wash.
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple snipers, I think, couple speedy forwards, but then we got danglers, we got playmakers, defensive forwards. I mean, we're really going to see what each build's strengths are and how player building works out because we got the whole spectrum of players here. We even got we signed a minute munching D-man the other day, so, and we'll see if they can just shut him down and go out there a whole lot of time. I'm really excited to see how this goes.
I'm really excited to see what that minute munching because that was my second choice.
That's your D partner, so hopefully they'll hold the blue line. You know, you're joining the rush. You might cheat a little, not stay back, but we have some players on the bottom six that if you do jump up in the play, like they'll cycle back and cover you. I think so. We'll
And
get
that's a
those
good
strats
thing for
set up.
balance.
Yeah,
That might hold me back though for potentially moving up lines down the road, but like I said, it's not something that is super important to me anyway. So
yeah. I mean, right now we don't know what'll happen, and I don't know the other team's makeups. I think I hope someone writes an article about that, honestly, if they like check out the lines and just kind of put all the player builds out there and be like, so these guys have a good bottom six and a good top six for offense and blah blah blah. But like if you have snipers and playmakers throughout your lineup, like I think you're probably going to be hurting from that and you'll see like they're all deep in the zone trying to get the puck to the net and then all of a sudden you have like a 3-on-1 going the other way that you get burned by because you have no good defensive players. So that's why I was looking for that balance. I mean, in real hockey at least, that's how it goes. If you don't have good defensive players, you're going to be giving up those rushes and those bad chances. So that's why I
and
try to go
ultimately
balanced.
I was just gonna say, ultimately, in those situations, I mean, it's your goalie that pays for it.
Well, I think we got the best goalie in the league. Luke TD, Giuseppe Snodgrass, that's great. You're a GM player, you're going to make a good goalie. Except I think you're going to have the Alistair Kane in this league. You're going to have a shit Swiss cheese goalie. And then Mikhail Petrov is going to be the god goalie, the brick wall that everyone wants to have. So,
Can I be the person that says that just like how many Petrovs this league has? Can I please say it?
at first I
How
was
many
annoyed,
Petrovs?
but then we got a couple of them and they're solid, so, I won't complain.
I
And
mean,
Theo are really great people, and I'm really happy we got them in the locker room, so.
I just have to make the joke because obviously I made also a Russian, but I'm not a Petrov.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the heck happened here? That there's so many of these guys with the same last name.
I think it started as a couple people, they're like, yo, let's make like brother players because it'll be fun to kind of follow our careers and easy to write articles about. You just spit out what each Petrov's doing, if they're together, if they're apart. I think it started as that, and they just kind of convinced more people to join them until it became
There's a horde. There's a horde of Petrovs.
somewhat cult-like, I'll say. They're like, oh shit, I want to be a Petrov and pray to the Church of Petrov, and we'll be the best. So I think that's what's going on.
I'm just a Cheklova.
That's okay though.
I'm a Russian.
We do have a little time though. When we do introduce IHF, what you want to be on the Russian team probably. You think it's gonna be a real good team, or?
Well, I mean, we have every Petrov. Every Petrov.
Yeah, but are the Petrovs good, or just the ones on Windy City?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, can I just be the person to say they have Irena Cheklova?
Yeah.
I don't plan on
D?
I don't plan on sucking, so.
Well, no one does, but sometimes you just bust out. I don't know what to say. The sim is not kind to some people. It's like that in every league and every sim engine. It just kind of picks and chooses who it wants to be shit, and it just does it. You could be Nail Yakupov.
Some people just walk in the light. That's how it's said sometimes.
Yeah.
It just picks people to love and people to hate. And if it hates on me, it won't be different than my other leagues, so I'll be used to it.
It is funny. I saw some stats. I forgot who posted them, but I think Russia, they do or almost have enough to field a team. Every other country, it's rough, so we're not going to have IHF for a while. We're thinking of maybe a East versus West kind of thing, but that might exclude too many people. I don't know. Like, that would be real rough to get a roster for an East versus West, just two-team thing where you got to pick 20 players out of 200 or whatever. So
maybe you guys could do like directional in general, like north, south, east, west.
Yeah, it could be. We'll look at our options. For now, we just don't have enough to set up that kind of tourney. But
we don't even have the sim going.
Yeah, I mean there aren't a lot of people for each specific country. It's really spread out. And
just Russia.
And then USA has 47 creates or something like that. It was like 30 more than the next team. It was ridiculous how many USA creates. It's kind of funny. I mean, I created Team USA. Because the lore is that my guy's from Chicago too, so that's just how it is.
Here, I'm surprised that there aren't Canadians, because
me too.
Because Canadians always seem to just be like the powerhouse team.
I mean, I'm assuming VHL. I don't know if you're involved in IHF kind of stuff, international, right?
Yeah, I do. I'm the WJC co-commish.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would assume it's USA and Canada mostly are the big like draw countries that get a lot of creates, right?
Well, I'll give you the example of what's going on right now. Think that to get into the gold medal game right now, it's Canada versus US.
Yeah.
And Europe is actually sitting as the leader this, so interesting.
Yeah. But like just in not maybe in skill and how good the players are, but just sheer number of creates.
Oh, sheer number of creates is Canada by far. I'm
Yeah,
just
but
gonna
is
tell you.
US is close, right?
The US is close,
Yeah.
and Europe gets everybody in Europe except for
Oh,
Russia.
that's pretty good.
So that's why they have such a good pick. And Russia actually gets forced to play with Asia. Poor Russia. Poor Russia.
But like that's how it is in SHL. I mean, when you first create, you just kind of want to put where you're from or where you live or your favorite city. So usually it's Canada or US. Like there's just a huge number of creates, and whether they stick around or go inactive is a different story. But there are so many creates for those countries, and then everyone else kind of is left with the scraps, or they got to try to get them to transfer to another country, and like there's a fight for that. So it was really interesting when USA got a lot, because I don't think there's a ton of like new people, which is why we saw this huge spread of countries, is because they maybe already made American or Canadian player in a
It's
different
because we
league,
know.
and they're
That's
like,
why.
well, I want to do a fun country and try to make a good team there. I know people really like picking kind of unconventional countries and trying to make them into a good team just because it would be funny, or they would just want to like it. But that's why I'm surprised that USA got a lot, but then Canada didn't, because I don't think there's too many new kind of players to sim leagues, and they kind of know what's going on, and that they might have a better chance of making a different roster if they're a different nationality.
I think in my case, it was just the fact that I feel like I missed out on the opportunity to make a female character.
Mm-hmm.
And because I didn't really know what I was getting into.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this time I'm going to be a lady. And I'm not just going to be a lady, I'm going to be a Russian lady.
I mean, I think when you first join, it's kind of a safe assumption. You're like, this is kind of supposed to be a simulation of some kind of like, national league for, whether it's the National Hockey League or some kind of pro league where, it's men playing. So you make a male character to kind of do that. But then when you look around more and meet people and figure out what's going on, you kind of realize, oh shit, I could do anything I want. I could make my person green. I could make them from a weird place. It doesn't have to be realistic. You can still role play whatever you want. And I think that's where then you start seeing whether it's a man or a woman making a woman character. You're like, I can join this league and still be a woman character and go with that. So why not,
And like, as always, I always need to mention my favorite character that made me kind of realize that fact, because everybody runs into one player, character, whatever you want to call him, that kind of like brings this fact to your life. Shout out to Mountain Thunderfist. From some alien planet from God knows where, who wrote perhaps the best rookie profile I've ever read. Thank God for you, Mountain Thunderfist. And you made me so sad that I didn't make some odd player to play with Mountain Thunderfist.
Yeah. I mean, so that's where the fun comes from, and that's why we see a lot of funny personalities in NSHL, I feel like, is because they've already done the boring player in another league, and they want to have some fun with this one. So we got, like, players from Mars and, Game of Thrones players, just some fun stuff. You make a funny name, you make a
and we
Petrov
have 50
clan.
Petrovs.
Yep. I mean, that's what makes this league have a lot of personality, too, is that people know what's going on, so they want to make a fun player with a fun build and just hang out. So I think it's been successful like that so far, and I'm excited to see where it goes, pretty much.
So what was the inspiration behind your character?
Well, so I joined SHL, and I wanted to be a goalie, and I kind of wanted to roleplay me, because obviously it's a little late for me to become a pro goalie. I only started playing when I was 18, so...
So really late starter then.
Yeah, I mean, I have the skill of, like, I don't know, when do actual people start learning hockey? Like, when they're, like, 4 or 5 years old. So I have the skill of, like, an 8-year-old, basically, which is what I tell people when they score on me. I'm like, you just scored on an 8-year-old, so maybe don't selly. maybe, fuck you. But
People don't care.
I just made my guy Alistair Kane. So he's from Chicago. Just made him kind of the guy. But I wanted to roleplay Martin Kane and be like his brother kind of deal. And like he didn't get drafted to the SHL, but then he got this letter from a team that's starting up in his hometown in the NSHL called Windy City. So he's gonna go join that and try to become a legendary player here.
That's actually interesting.
Yeah, it should be fun to kind of see where it goes, and if he sucks, then it's kind of like, oh well, he wasn't good enough to make the SHL, so this is like a lesser league, and he's not even good in that one, so he's the worst Kane.
So your players are definitely related then?
They're brothers, but they could be rivals. I mean, they could be like one's trying to get more cups in a different league or get more personal success. We'll see how it goes. I think it'll be conducive to more media writing about that kind of stuff, though.
See, as of more where Irena's kind of background story is basically anything to get out of Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything to get out of Russia.
You joined the hockey league in the U.S. so that you could move here?
Yeah, that's her story.
And I mean,
obviously she's super young too,
yeah.
So she just wanted to get away from home and have a good time and do something she's good at, so
Chicago's got a lot of different communities, and I think you'll find a good place here. I know, at least in real life, like in the NHL, some towns you go to might not have a good community if you're a foreigner. Don't find a lot of people like you, but luckily Chicago is not that kind of place. You're gonna find people like you here, because lots of different backgrounds in the city, which should be a draw, I think, for free agents. I mean, obviously, they don't care about that in the league because it's not real life. So they're probably.
Well, I was gonna say, it's not like I was expecting to go to Chicago.
Yeah.
So I was building thinking that I would go to one of the teams that people from the BHL knew.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that I'd probably end up. I mean, it's not even a secret. I'd end up on LA or.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the other that there was a lot of BHLers from.
Maybe Vienna.
Yeah, it is Vienna. And that's where I thought I'd end up going. So obviously, I didn't see a problem with having a Russian going there. So.
Yeah, I mean, LA is probably good. I don't know about Vienna. It's by Washington, D.C. I don't know if they like Russians in D.C. You could play that whole angle, though, like you're a spy or something. Have fun with that. But
I mean, but that would have been fun to play with, too.
Yeah. So you can have a lot of fun with that kind of stuff. I think going to Yukon, I don't know if there's a great Russian. I mean, maybe Russians.
It's closer to Russia, though.
Yeah, than anywhere else, but I don't know if they're just hopping over to Yukon, I don't know how many immigrate there. I guess it would be kind of like home, though, really cold and sparsely populated, yeah. Alright, well, it has been an hour. It doesn't really feel like it, but we do have an hour of content, and I think for the most part we're on track, just talking about fun stuff and player builds and where you want to go with your career, so it has been fun doing that. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me today. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and now you're not going to be a broke-ass bitch. You got $4 million coming in.
I'm just going to point out, I was never a broke-ass bitch to begin.
I mean, do you have over $10 million?
I did at one point, and then my money came out.
Well, yeah. When you do the rookie test, okay, that's great, but then you got to buy equipment. That doesn't count. Rookie test money is basically money you don't have from the start because you got to buy equipment or you're a scrub.
Yeah, but I mean, I did do other tasks. It's not like I didn't go get my money.
Yeah, but you didn't do podcasts yet, which makes you broke.
Okay, well,
that's the only way to go.
I guess I'm a broke-ass bitch then.
Now you're not, though, so congrats on that.
Thanks for having me on today and giving me some pity money. Yeah. I'll take it.
Well, you took a team-friendly contract, so I owe you.
like I said, I'll definitely sign whatever you throw at me. But
Good to
I
hear.
think I'm just saying, I think that when you join a league, it shouldn't be your team making up for your inactivity.
Yeah, that's we're going over time, but I don't care. I mean, I'll just talk about like that is one of the tricky parts of being GM. I mean, you deep down you want to assign people to the cheapest you can because you want to be able to have the money to get free agents, to pay the people who want money later, who deserve it, to pay the minimum contracts. I mean, those get pretty big. You got once you're at 1,000 TPE, you get uh, five mil minimum, and you'll probably ask for a little more than that if you're a big star. So that's where the tricky thing is. And with the first season, we lucked out because there's no precedent, right? So you could offer someone 1 mil. You're like, yo, no one else even makes any money, so 1 mil is something, you know. So that's kind of where it was tricky, but also like you could kind of lowball people and they wouldn't mind. Where soon I think we're gonna start to see like these people who score lots of points ask for lots of money or whatever. But you want to sign people cheap, but also you want to
Reward good play.
and you want to set them up, you know, like you don't want it to be super hard for them to afford the equipment that they need to get better by just they have no money and they got to do a lot of this stuff to get money.
I
But
think that you help like us out though.
yeah,
Like if I came to you and I was like, I'm really finding it hard to have money. I don't really know what I'm doing here. You guys definitely point people in the right direction. Tell them how to do it. You've offered for everybody to be on your
yeah,
podcast.
that was
Super,
the deal.
super kind and supportive.
When I was signing contracts, I'm like, okay, look, this doesn't even cover one piece of equipment at this point. But you come on my podcast 1 or 2 times, you're just set up for training, all that. So, I mean, forego the contract money now, get it back in the podcast, and we're all happy. So that's kind of
Were
my
there people
shtick.
asking for more money then?
Oh, I mean, like Joe was a big draft pick. He was the first one. We gave Flappy 4 mil to start out, I think.
That's nice.
Which is for the 8th draft pick in the draft. You know, you want to kind of make them feel like they're kind of a star.
A little special.
Yeah. So you give them a decent contract and kind of set like, here's your contract. So now you got to be real good because we're paying you fat money. You don't want to be a bust. And then Joe wanted more than anyone else on the team. That was his thing. So we're like, we'll give you 500K more than him, and he's fine with that. But I mean, some people do want money. I'm hoping to build a locker room where that doesn't matter. You come on the podcast, you can take minimum, and we can just get a big team and maybe sign big free agents and offer them more than anyone else can because they're handcuffed by bad contracts. That's kind of what I'm looking to build here. And I think we're doing a good job. I mean, we signed everyone to a contract, realized we had so much money that would go to waste. So we're like, hey, everyone, you want 1.5 more money, like 1.5 mil more money just to help you out and buy training and shit. So we offered that to everyone. We got
Here's
money
the
for
thing, I felt
bonuses.
so guilty taking the money from you
No,
guys because I think that that's something that how some players are as well is I would honestly see you have extra money to make our team amazing
here's
than
the
to take
thing.
extra money from you.
Trell and I and everyone else who accepted cheap contracts did such a good job on that we had enough money to offer those bonuses and still have money for trades, free agents, whatever. I mean, we had a lot of money. We had more money left than we used on contracts, so we thought it was fair to reward everyone for good contracts.
I just hope that down the line you guys have enough money that if something happens and you guys need to take time off from either podcast or whatever it is to get money, that you can take care of yourselves as well because that's important too. Teams should look out for their GMs as well.
Yeah, and I mean,
I just feel like that.
Yeah, and the way we did it was, we give out the bonuses and the signing bonuses for this season, And then if we start bringing in free agents who are really good, I mean, there are a couple people who signed 1-year contracts. We're looking at them already, seeing where they can fit in the team, what kind of contracts we could give them. We gave
And most of
money.
us signed low for our second year as
Yeah,
well, I
I
think.
mean, we gave the signing bonus for the first year. So it works out for everyone. You get this money the first year to help with equipment or training or whatever, get a head start, start building your bank. And then you're all cheaper on the second year. So we have even more cap space for more bonuses, or if we trade or bring in people on bigger contracts, it'll work out fine. So I think we really set ourselves up where money and cap isn't an issue to start it out. At least these first 2 seasons, like, we're pretty golden on that, and I shouldn't see too much controversy or like.
I'm actually curious whether that's the case with all the teams, though. I wonder if there were just some really thirsty players out there.
I assume there are. I mean, I avoided people who wrote media saying, "Hey, I'm gonna want a big contract," because that's not the attitude I wanted on my team. To be honest, I like your kind of thing where we're saying, "Yo, we got so much money, take some more," and you're like, "I don't know," like that's huge to me. That kind of like you're okay with even not taking money to help the team and make it better because you rather see team success than try to build a fat bank and have that kind of player. So that's huge, and that's kind of the people I wanted on my team, and I think it worked out. Everyone took great contracts. That's why we had all this money, and I felt like it was good for everyone to kind of feel like they earned that reward for taking a good contract. We just give them more money for kind of playing nice and not demanding too much.
And I think for me, where it comes from is I actually AGM'd in the majors in my other league, and
Mm-hmm.
when I ended up helping in the draft, and one of my draft picks demanding like money and ended up forcing a bunch of trades to happen, and I kind of saw the chaos that can happen out of it.
Yeah.
Instead of just like accepting like creative solutions that we were throwing out at them. And I mean, whatever, that was that player's choice, and I honestly anything against for it, but I personally don't want to be that person, and I want to look out for my team and make sure that it's a good experience for you, because it gets stressful on the other side of things.
Yeah. I mean, to start out, everything is smooth sailing. Even if people took big contracts, we got money for that. And I mean, that's what the salary cap is for. So you can't build these super teams of. I mean, even if everyone was on mil contracts, 5 mil for 1,000 plus, I don't think you can build a full team with 1,000 plus TPE players because you don't have enough money for that. So that's kind of
And
what
you
it's for. It's to make it tough on the GM and make them have to make smart moves and be a good GM in order to win and have a good team. So to
and
start out, it's been
eventually spot
easy.
good builds too.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been easy to start. It will get tougher. Eventually, we're going to have to make tough choices. This person wants this much money, and this person wants less, so we'll have to move on from this guy, even though we really like him, just to help out the team a little bit. It's going to be stuff like that. But luckily, I think Charles and I will have enough experience GMing at that point where we can deal with it in the best way possible. I mean, right now, I'd be freaked out if someone was being pissy about something. I mean, I'm pretty new at GMing, and I GM'd in World Juniors, but you don't have to do contracts or anything in that, so it's kind of easy.
And I was like, are you both new GMs too?
He's in PBE as a minor league GM, so it's a
That
little
helps.
it's a little different. I mean, he knows the ropes. He's been really great helping out. He's talked contracts. I think he does that. I don't know how contracts work in PBE. Maybe it's since it's a minor team, you're just kind of signing people and then they move on anyway, so you don't have to worry about that. But
Like I said, for because I just
yeah,
got an expansion one. Like, I know I'm not dealing with giving money.
yeah,
And that's pretty well the only reason why I was being a GM, because like I said, I had that experience being somebody in the bigs, AGM, and I like hyperventilated when that situation was going on.
There's like, I mean, it's even scary talking to people like, you know, you give them a number, you're like, 3 mil, 2.5, something like that. And they kind of, you can tell they're not really happy with that number. They're kind of like, what's the situation like? Can you spend more money, or is this all you can offer me? And you're kind of freaking out on the inside. You're like, is this going to be a tough negotiation, or are they going to be easy? And they're just wondering legit if you can give them more money. So
Meanwhile, when you offered it to me, I was
yeah.
like, I don't even know if this is good money, but I'll take it.
That's where everyone is now, which we're lucky. So once people catch on, like, oh, you know, 2 mil is like decent for my build, or it's not a lot for my build, like for my TP level or whatever, like, then it'll be tough. And especially when people have stats to point to, you know, I just got fucking 50 points in 82 games, so I think I should get this contract, because this guy, especially, I think it's going to be more realistic than some other sim leagues. I mean, I haven't worked with contracts, but I'm guessing people aren't really going, I produced like this guy, so he took a fat contract, so I should have that. But I think that'll be very relevant here, especially with kind of the more advanced stats we have in the sim, that you can point to someone with similar build and production and kind of be like, yo, pay me because this guy gets paid. So it'll be tricky when it comes to that.
I think that's something that happens in a lot of sims, though.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think that it's correct, because I've seen a lot of similar builds bust. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I mean, yeah, it's more the mentality you have. I know people who want big contracts aren't really being like dicks just to be dicks. They could need the money because they don't have the time or just aren't interested in actually grinding money. I mean, it's really tough. I took a minimum contract because I didn't really know any better. You know, it's one of those things, pretty much like everyone here. And then I kind of was looking, it's like, I make 1 mil a season, equipment is almost 9 mil.
Oof, that's harsh.
I gotta come up with some money here, and luckily I was able to grind that out and kind of set myself up. But if someone else doesn't want to or can't, you know, they gotta kind of ask for the bigger money. And it would probably help if they explained that too, and like kind of came to an understanding.
And I think it comes down to a lot of the times too, when stuff happens between GM and players, that a lot of the time it's miscommunication and people getting offended over the, well, no offense, but you've been maxing till this point sometimes for these players, and you're like, okay, well, you maxed till this point, so I'm expecting that you're going to be able to continue to do that without my help, so I offered you this much, which is even more than you have now, so bonus for you. And then on the other hand, the player's like, I've been maxing to the point, I'm at the end of my rope, I'm really tired at this point, please help me out, and you offer them this minimum contract, and they go off the handle on you.
And I mean, even if they can put in the time and already do, and they just want to get paid, you know, they've been working hard and they want to have a big contract to kind of flaunt it around, or be like, yo, I'm really good in the sim, I get a lot of TPE, show me you want me, you know, give me the big contract. I get that mindset too. That can be fun to role play that kind of player who wants to be, you know, feel like they want to be valued on the team, and that the team values them to give them this much money and will spend it on them. I get that too, and I want to show people that too. If you have a really good player who's really important and we really want to keep you, and you're kind of saying like, oh, chase me, you know, give me a big dollar amount or else I'll leave you, I'm okay with doing that, which is why I want to set myself up where I can afford to do that.
I mean, sure enough, and I guess I'm on the other side of the mentality where I just want to, look, I'm good, and I'm good without your.
Yeah. There's a lot of different stances you could take, which adds to the roleplay value, and like, even, I don't know, I don't want to get too deep, but I feel like playing in these sim leagues, you kind of learn a lot about people and about yourself and how interacting with people works, maybe in a business sense or just a person sense. So it's kind of fun to see how different personalities react to situations.
For sure. Like, I thought when I first joined my first sim league that I was, like, I was hard ass. I could make hard decisions, and I was great at that. And then I realized, like, no, like, I'm a little puffball.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm a little puffball. Like, I'm concerned about people, and it was honestly something that helped me later on as I took on more roles, because knowing how I was originally and kind of gave me something to prove upon.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. You find out a lot about when people GM, you find out the people that really take the time to care. There's some people with the reputation like that they're hard asses, the kind of it's better to be feared than loved kind of thing, where they're really straightforward and aren't afraid to make tough decisions and that kind of thing. Some people in the middle. So, I mean, I would like to think that I can stand my ground, but honestly, I guess we'll find out if I'm a pushover or not, and when the time comes and someone tries to turn me into a pushover, I guess we'll see.
I think that that's something that was my benefit, though, too, is that I didn't have to make the decision, even though I was the person struggling with it the most, for sure, out of the GM and me as the AGM.
Yeah.
I definitely know I was the one struggling. So, but like I said, it gave me something to kind of look at myself with, and I knew I could be a stronger person than that. I knew I could do the job better without freaking out. So it gave me something to kind of to work with and kind of know where I would be the next time something like that happened.
Yeah. Alrighty, we've been going an hour and a half-ish, so I think we can wrap it up. We only get paid for an hour anyway, but it has been really fun talking anyway, so I don't feel too bad about it. But
yeah, I don't feel bad about it either. We kind of knew this might be a problem.
Yeah.
Both talkers.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully that just makes it easy to come on next time and make another 4 mil. Like, it's kind of fun. I like podcasts, and I feel like everyone should do them just because it's fun to be excited and talk about it. You kind of think about stuff and really, like, talk it out and kind of see where you are in the league. And then also you get paid for it, and it's not hard. I mean, media can be hard. Writing and just thinking of stuff and freaking out about word count, like, that's brutal. I hate that, which is why podcasts, like, you just talk for a bit. I do all the work here. I'll just upload it and then link it, and you get the money. I mean, I don't see a lose scenario in this case, so that's why I encourage it.
For sure, this is by far one of the easier options.
Yeah. So if you're listening in Windy City and want to come on, just at me. If you
It's
listen
easy money, guys.
Yeah, if you listen in and you're not in Windy City, I'm not gonna tamper
Wish you could be.
I'm not gonna tamper you. I'm just saying, this is the setup we got. You get 4 mil, and we got the best emotes in the league. Ask Cal. Ask the commissioner of the league. He'll tell you. He requested the emotes that we have in our server in another server. That's how good they are. So, just flexing.
We're just saying we're awesome.
Just
that's
flexing on you. That's what you got to do when you're a GM. Just flex on the rest of the league. So we got preseason tomorrow. We got the sim coming up. It's pretty exciting. We're going to be the best team. There's no doubt about it. So, if you're going to hate, I'll see you on the ice, and Cheklova will fucking crush you.
I got no problems. Got no problem showing you who's boss.
Except your player is only 170 pounds, so, I mean...
I'll take him out at the kneecaps. I don't care.
Oh, dirty. You gotta up the dirtiness trait, and then...
I might up the dirtiness trait a little bit.
I don't hate it. We got a gritty team. We're gonna be a hard team to play against, I'll tell you that. It will not be easy to get into our defensive zone. We will grind you.
I mean, my specialty is grinding, remember?
Yeah. So that's what we got going on in Windy City. Y'all know you want to join us, so we'll see you next time. I think I'm doing some more today with different kind of, I guess they're not prospects. I mean, they're players. They're kind of prospect players. I mean, we haven't played any games. I don't know. But should be meeting some new faces on the Windy City later, so look forward to that if you're the media grader, because that's the only person who listens to this. So.
I mean, I'll be looking at it. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, really? Have you checked out the other ones still?
No, not yet, but I'm going to now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Blues was pretty excited to be on it. You did a good job. We talked about the whole draft, so you got a bit about yourself in there too.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. All right. So signing off. See you next time, NSHL.
See you later.